Greetings to everybody who enjoys a nice game of chess. Today I'm going to show you a game which I played with black pieces. It's an interesting game, so let's dive right into it. My opponent played first move knight to f3, so this is a non-committal move, kind of asking black like what do you want to do here? Passing the ball in the black's court. So I replied with another non-committal move, knight to c6. They followed d4, and now white would like to push the pawn even further, so I'm stopping this plan. White develops the bishop. I'm developing the light squared bishop as well, with the idea to move e6 after that, unlocking the dark square bishop as well. So my opponent played e3. Okay, so they followed e6, bishop to e2. I'm offering a trade of the dark squared bishops. My opponent declines that for the moment. Capture the bishop. He has to recapture with the queen. And I capture the knight and then the bishop. Okay, so now there was some good number of pieces traded. The game is simplified. So in this position I played queen to g5, and it is a mistake as per the computer evaluation. I wouldn't say it's a mistake because it's two humans playing. However, yeah, it's not the best move in the position. So my opponent replied with f4. He could have gone for check, and then let's say a possible continuation will be king to d8, captures the pawn, protects the rook. Okay, then let's say castle, captures the pawn on e5. Okay, so in this position it's hard to say who has a big advantage. Maybe the game is pretty much equal. Okay, let's see what happened in the game. So after check, protect with the pawn, I bring the queen back with the idea that if now queen checks, then it's nicely protected, and now the queen cannot take the pawn because it's protected by the queen. Okay, to which my opponent developed the knight. I castled long, white castled long, and now the computer says best move would be to play f6. I wasn't even considering playing this move because I have a nice pawn structure here, and by moving pawn to f6 I would destroy the base of my pawn chain, which I didn't want to do. Instead I go for a more human move, more natural move, which is queen to b4. Now my opponent is helping me a little bit by placing the king in front of my queen. It is usually a good idea to avoid such position. Okay, I developed the knight, would like to bring it closer to the king. White wants to push the queen back. I do retreat the queen, but I still keep my queen on the same line, aligned with the white king. My opponent advanced the pawn, It's kind of a passive move, but it's an okay move. I bring the knight closer. Now, with this move, I didn't really understand this move because the rook does not threaten anything, is not aligned with any of my pieces. So, but anyway, it's an okay move. They followed knight to a5. So now attacking the queen, removing the queen from the attack. Now my opponent brings the rook. It's a nice rook lift, protecting the knight. And now with this move I'm cutting the protection of the knight by the rook, to which my opponent has to retreat to the knight. Now I align my queen again with the white's king. And now b3, which is allowing me to capture the pawn on a3, which I do. However, not yet. First, I'm attacking the rook. So rook moves back. Now I'm attacking. I'm capturing the pawn on a3 with check. My opponent has to move the king. Now check again. Moves back. And now, of course, I don't go for a move repetition because my opponent would love to have a draw in this position. So I move the knight to a5 instead. My opponent would like to exchange the queens and simplify the position, which I do not want. So I remove the queen from the attack. Okay, the point of this move with the king probably is that white would like to bring the rook to a1 and then attack on the a file, but he does not have enough time to do that because I'm attacking the queen. The queen has to go to a4. Now I'm bringing the queen again nicely aligned against the white's king. Of course, he removes it. So just going forward with the attack. And with this move, I'm also having a discovery attack on the pawn on e3. And my opponent allows me to capture with check. Now king has to move and protect the knight because it was under attack. Now I'm just bringing the pawn further, and you see the position looks crushing, and also the computer gives a winning advantage. However, still there's some work to do. So my opponent captured the knight on a5, but this also allowed me to capture the knight with check, and my queen is nicely supported by the two pawns. The king is under fire, so king to b1. Now just bringing the pawns attacking, trying to open the lines. There was actually also a good move, maybe a better move. So that would be rook to d5 attacking the queen, and then after queen to a2, probably something like rook to b5 attacking this pawn twice would check on the king. It would be a difficult position to play. I didn't see that idea. So after king to b1 I played d3. However, this is also a good move, keeping the initiative. So my opponent retreated the queen to a2. Now check. And now he's losing the rook because the only move is to capture. I capture with the rook, and in this position my opponent is rook down. It's practically impossible to do anything, and also white does not have any counterplay. So I'm just nicely bringing the second rook to d8, aligning hit against the white king, threatening checkmate on d1. My opponent defends it. Now I'm just have a lot of time on the clock, so that's why I captured the pawn on h2 with the idea to bring the rook on d2. However, my opponent resigned in this position. As I mentioned, there's no counterplay. My king is nicely defended. There's no pawn breakthrough for him. Position is hopeless. However, my opponent played a decent game. So I would like to thank my opponent for the nice game. And as you can see, I did not do anything special in this game. I tried to play some good solid moves, logic moves, developing moves, some attacking moves. Tried to keep the initiative going on, and it was nicely rewarded. I hope you liked the video, and I'll see you in some other videos. Bye.